My stepdaughter's entitled boyfriend had made them homeless substance addicts. I refused to step in and help them out. I call my stepdaughter's entitled boyfriend Wreck-It Ralph. He has a tendency to break everything he touches. My stepdaughter, who is actually a sweet and endearing young woman whom I love dearly, has, like many young women with self-esteem issues, allowed herself to be led astray by Wreck-It Ralph. In the year they've been together, she's lost everything, but at 23 she is old enough to learn her lessons without us parents coming to her rescue until she gets rid of Wreck-It Ralph and back on track. When they first got together, they lived with her dad and myself for a few months. It very quickly became apparent Wreck-It Ralph had a chip on his shoulder when it came to me. He would carry tales to my husband, causing us to argue. Despite my husband telling Wreck-It Ralph many times that was my house and everything and it was mine, Wreck-It Ralph would keep asking my husband, not me, if he could have this or that, and that's if he asked. He kept getting more and more animals despite our telling him no more. Neither were taking care of the ones they had. They weren't buying dog or cat food or cat litter, my husband and I were. They weren't picking up the messes, and they weren't training them, allowing them to tear up our belongings. Mary Jane is legal in our state, and there is a dispensary in our town, and the only work these two would do is door delivery, the stepdaughter's job with a daily payout, just to get enough money for Wreck-It Ralph to make a purchase at the dispensary every day along with eating at fast food restaurant. Wreck-It Ralph's chip on his shoulder when it came to me was such that they brought my husband a soda one night, walking in the back door right past me, calling out loudly, "We got you your favorite soft drink," to my husband in the living room with zero inclusion to me. Another example is my stepdaughter asking if she could use my debit card to go get the four of us drinks at a local convenience store one hot day that my husband and I were unloading stuff from the truck and trailer in the backyard, which was no problem. However, when checking my account, they spent $45 on food for Wreck-It Ralph without asking. The end came when I told them they had to replace the bedroom door their dog chewed the bottom out of, and refused to allow the pit bull mix they wanted to rescue even though it had a bite history to enter my home. They moved to my stepdaughter's mother's home at that point. During their time there, my stepdaughter kept getting tickets in her car which is only registered to my husband. They weren't paying their insurance, which I had bought my stepdaughter her own policy and paid the startup out of my money when they lived with us, and didn't pay the plate renewal. Now her license is suspended, and it cost my husband and I $600 to get the plates, again in his name only, unsuspended. Plus they had damaged the car and it needed repairs. So he took it from them. Before her license was suspended, but after the police took the plates from her car, my husband let her use his truck which was on my insurance policy. Wreck-It Ralph drove it, and he has no license, and blew the motor in it. It is now sitting and can't be used. I told my husband I would put the car on my insurance for him, but only if he drove it. If he returned it to them, I was canceling the insurance, which I've stood by. Nevertheless, Wreck-It Ralph called daily demanding my husband return the car to them once it was legal and fixed. After 3 weeks my husband finally said,
"Look, you dumb F, I don't know what it is that you think you're trying to accomplish here, but you're not demanding anything from me and you're not getting the car back. I may have originally bought it for her before she got with you, but it is my car in my name and I'm keeping it in lieu of the truck you ruined. Don't call me again about the car. Got it?"
We had been hearing of ongoing disputes between my husband's ex and Wreck-It Ralph. Things got so bad there that Wreck-It Ralph told my husband's ex-wife to pack her stuff and get the F out of her own home. Another time he told her to shut the F up and remember who she's talking to. So we all decided it was time to let our daughter hit rock bottom, since she wasn't seeing how Wreck-It Ralph had taken her from being a sweet, lovable, well-liked and responsible girl in a college nursing program to this person with a criminal history and no prospects at the moment. My husband's ex-wife moved in with her boyfriend, turning the power off at the home she had been renting, and told her former landlord, whom she was actually longtime friends with, she wouldn't allow it to affect their friendship if he evicted them for squatting, since neither were on her lease to begin with. When my stepdaughter called wanting to come back, my husband told her she could, but Wreck-It Ralph could not. Now they are staying at a homeless shelter in the town where Wreck-It Ralph's mom lives, and Wreck-It Ralph's mom won't let them live with her either. On top of that, Wreck-It Ralph has recently made a good friend who is a blow dealer. This has resulted in most of their money going towards blow. This habit has only developed recently, but I can see Wreck-It Ralph is on a very slippery slope. As far as my stepdaughter goes, she dabbles it in occasionally with him from what I know, but he keeps pressuring her to do more. We hate to see her go through this, but this entitled Wreck-It Ralph she won't let go of has really brought her down, and she can do so much better. This guy actually told us once he couldn't work at a factory that he interviewed at because it was climate controlled and his heart condition won't allow that, then argued with me and my husband that climate controlled meant controlled by the climate, so it was hot in summer and cold in winter. We haven't seen him hold a job or do anything useful and productive since they've been together, just demand from and use the people who love the girl he's become a Klingon to. My stepdaughter's entitled boyfriend had made them homeless substance addicts. I refused to step in and help them out. So, things are going the way they're going. My stepdaughter recently had court in town 30 miles west of us. Her and her boyfriend Wreck-It Ralph are staying just across the state line in a small city 30 miles east of us. So my husband and I devised a plan to get her a loan from him. We said the only car running was the 2-seat convertible and could only take her for her court appearance. My husband picked her up, then I took her to her court appearance as my husband had to be at the house for something. On the way, she started talking about how she wanted to break up with Wreck-It Ralph but was afraid of the hurt that comes with it. She also said that he has totally changed ever since developing the blow habit, and now he really scares her. She does not want to partake with him, but he essentially forces her to do so. She added that she hated how controlling and untruthful he has become, but she felt he truly loved her and didn't know if the negative behavior was simply from his blow addiction. She said once he got SR22 insurance and his license back he would be able to work and things would be better. I pulled over, pulled out my phone, and went to the court file website for the county north of us where Wreck-It Ralph used to live. I pulled up 6 cases in his name, 3 to do with driving with multiple citations in each. The most recent, he was speeding, ran a stop sign, hit a woman, fled the scene, had a suspended license and registration and had obviously no insurance. He was arrested later and had to post bond. That case he had $4,000 in fines, plus we had received a letter at our house from the state stating he owed $11,000 in restitution to the woman for damages and that his license was permanently suspended until the restitution, any related court-imposed fines, and state-imposed reinstatement fee was paid along with proof of SR22. Within 48 hours of release of suspension by the state. She was deflated and angry, stating they talked at length and he never told her any of that, only that he needed SR22 because he got caught driving without insurance and had to have it before he could get his license back. She herself ended up on probation for her driving issues related to him with a 6-month suspension and $750 in fines, lucky break from the judge in all honesty. She too will have to have SR22 once her suspension is over. Afterwards, while I stopped at the store to get stuff for supper, Wreck-It Ralph kept calling and demanding she come back. Despite plans to have supper with her that evening, she ultimately gave in to the relentless calls and asked her dad to take her back before I could cook. She was very unhappy with her situation and began to see him for what he is, and how in the year they've been together he's brought her down. However, she's not quite at the point of leaving him, but hopefully with any luck she'll be calling to come home soon. She knows she has a place here with us, but he doesn't.